So I'm here with Mr. Maruna, and I'm going to be asking him a few questions about the turkey trot. And of course, as you know, it's already passed, but I mean, that don't matter. It's still a great event, and I'd love to talk to him about it.
Thanks for having me on this wonderful program here.
Of course, of course. And so my first question is, how long have you been hosting the turkey trot?
So this was our fourth year doing this. I actually started it my third year coaching here. Realized pretty quick that track can get kind of expensive, and that we needed to do a fundraiser to be able to get equipment so the kids can have a successful season. So,
And so I guess that was kind of my second question. Why did you start? But of course,
mostly to raise funds, but I think a 5K is also a great way not only to raise money but also to bring the community together, raise awareness for our program, but also, like I said, just get people involved, coming to our school, seeing what we're about, seeing what our values are. So I think that is another valuable part of this race that I do.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a great way for the community to come together during Thanksgiving. And so, how was the outcome this year, and how did it stand up to how you thought it'd be?
Yeah, this year was good outcome. Numbers were good. As you know, you're a volunteer. It was extremely cold this year.
Oh, yeah.
The past 3 years that we've done this, it has been 50s, 60s, no wind, just beautiful weather for the season. And unfortunately, this year it was very cold. I mean, it was race time. I think it was. I think thermostat said like 29, but felt in the teens. Wind chill probably made it even lower. It was very windy, cloudy. Just kind of, the atmosphere wasn't as good this year, but needless to say, we still had a good turnout. We had about 65 people show up between runners and walkers, which was about average for us. So despite the weather, we had a great turnout.
Mm-hmm. And so how long do you think you'll continue this event?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say as long as it becomes financially feasible. We made a good amount of cash this year, and I guess this is a good time for me to make a shout out for all of our sponsors. We have a lot of sponsors, and I guess I should have brought a list so I could shout out each one, but we had about 10 sponsors this year, which is the most that we've ever had. So we're definitely getting recognition not only from the community but also from local businesses, and they're starting to kind of see the value of this as an advertising venue for them. So very lucky to have great sponsors. Like I said, we made good money this year, so as long as we are making a good profit on this event, and as long as we're still getting enough people to come out to the race and support, I would like to keep this going.
And speaking about the budget, how much planning would you say went into this, talking time-wise and budget-wise?
Well, the first year was obviously the hardest. Once I kind of had things kind of set that first year, the subsequent years, everything was kind of already in place. So the last 3 years haven't been as much planning. There's still a considerable amount of work. How much time does it take? That's a great question. Probably the most time-consuming thing is reaching out to the sponsors, getting those donations, and then setting up the race course and the day of. So I would say altogether probably 10 to 15 hours each year.
It's not terrible,
Not
but
terrible.
It's still a considerable
It's a
chunk
lot
of time.
considering there's only myself and Coach Prather on the junior high. So it's definitely a lot for two people to do. Anybody that's hosted a 5K before would know. But it's still a pretty small event relatively, so it's manageable, but it is a lot of work, especially when it's freezing cold the day of.
Yeah. And so since it's been going on for 4 years, there's bound to be some goofy moments during it. And so I'm wondering if you have any specific moment that you'd say is your favorite, or just kind of just a crazy moment that happened.
Yeah. Well, last year we actually had a turkey. So one of our very own New Berlin students, Whitney Williams, dressed up as a turkey. That was quite a hit last year. I'm trying to think if anything else funny necessarily has happened. Offhand, I can't think of anything. Luckily, we haven't had any injuries or anything like that. So knock on wood, we won't have any in the future. But we did get some photo finishes this year. We had a lot of kids running this year, and we got some great pictures of the kids, and I think they really enjoyed that, and I thought that was cool. So I would say that was probably the best memory from this year, at least.
Sounds fun. And my last question here is, are there any advice or words of wisdom for runners trying to come and run next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people are intimidated by 5Ks. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm not in shape for a 5K, or I've never done one. Well, there's a misconception. This is not. A lot of 5Ks are highly competitive. This is more of a family-friendly kind of community event where you don't really like. If you want to be competitive, you can. But if you don't want, you just want to come out and walk it. Just come out and walk it. It's to raise awareness and support for our track program. It's not to see who's the best runner out there. So a lot of people, even this year, were walkers. Some people even turned around early. They didn't do the whole thing. The important thing is that everybody enjoys themselves and you're supporting a great cause. But if you do want to excel, obviously we do time this race. If you do want to do well, I would recommend there's all kinds of training programs out there for 5Ks. Really, what it all comes down to is getting the base mileage. If you want to be a successful runner, start training as early as you can. Get those miles in. Don't start training the week before and expect just to be able to run a 5K. It is a long race, so that would be my recommendation for running it. But like I said, the most important thing is that you come out and enjoy it. Just have fun. You don't have to run. You can walk and just support our track program.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for meeting with me and answering these questions.
Thank you for having me on your program.
Mm-hmm. Don't do drugs.
No performance-enhancing drugs in this 5K. Hope you got that on there. Keep that on there.
I will.